gentlemen, let's go racing here at Knoxville.
Only the best go 3 abreast.
It is show time at Williams Grove Speedway.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here at Eldora Speedway, it's showtime!
You got them 4 abreast, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
It's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime!
Set to do battle for 30 laps. The green flag is waving.
Hello again. It's Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires. Right on our strength. Talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week, and we are so glad that you have joined us. We're in the Hercules Tires studios here in Concord, North Carolina. Erin Evernham and Steve Post. And what a weekend of sprint car racing we had.
I know. Fantastic weekend of sprint car racing.
It really, truly was. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, and I think the World of Outlaws was one of the early A mains on Friday night.
Yeah.
They rolled through quickly.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were done early. And I'm like, Jacob Allen wins. Jacob's going to join us here on the program. Jacob and Lance Dewease, the two big stories coming out of the weekend. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we know what the headline of this weekend is on Friday night at 9 Eastern time. Except for at about 10 Eastern time when Lance drives by Anthony Macri and Kyle Larson in one lap.
That was incredible.
And then then Lance being Lance the rest of the weekend. I'm like, is it possible that we have two mega stories? We do have two mega stories.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
When you win 7 Tuscarora 50s, you are a headline.
And we're gonna play the clip here. It's our Riding Diesel All Death-Defying Move of the Week. When you pass Anthony Macri and Kyle Larson in one lap,
at Port Royal.
and he did it on Friday night, and I'm like, oh, he is just either. And he said in Victory Lane, Lance said in Victory Lane, I don't want to steal anything here, but he said in Victory Lane, he said back earlier in the year, one time Kyle waved when he passed him. Lance said, I wasn't going to wave at him. He's too good. And I'm like, Lance, don't show your hand early on Friday night. Don't show your hand early on Friday night. Well, the reality is they didn't see his hand on Saturday night.
Yeah.
So, what a great weekend, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just really, really good stuff across the board. And let's get into it. Our classic ink screen printing and embroidery hot topics. World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars, the Boot Hill Showdown out at Dodge City Raceway Park in Kansas. 7th season. That team started in 2014, and finally Jacob Allen got the win. And I can't wait to talk to him later on.
Long-awaited, a well-deserved.
Well-deserved, for sure. Saturday night, Sheldon Hodenshield. Now, one of our themes this year has been how good Sheldon and his team have become, with Ripper there and Drew and the whole gang. We've talked to Sheldon about it. Last week we talked to Zan about it.
Yep.
And we've talked to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. about it on Wing Nation here, whether it was you or whether it was Ashley. We've talked to all of them. And they've all said we're starting to see that consistency. Well, that consistency gets you a 5th win of the season, and it will likely get him a 6th win and maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
Sheldon is at the front of the field all the time, and that's what it takes in the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. So that's more of the same there with Sheldon getting the win.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, what does this thing look like a year or two down the road when Sheldon and Ripper, and as long as Ricky and the Clausens, everyone can keep everyone on the same page and the funding in place, what does this thing look like a couple years down the road? Sheldon has a lot of Jack in him, but he also has a little bit of that better at consistency thing than Jack always. I'll never forget. Oh, my God. I am going way off the reservation, okay? And this might have been you, might have been Ashley, might have even been Kendra. It was that far back when Sheldon was first starting, and we had Jack on Wing Nation. And the question was, Jack, what are you teaching Sheldon? What are you telling him to do? And he said, to be patient and be good on equipment. I'm like, huh, what? In other words,
you got to know your weaknesses.
Yes. Don't do anything like me, and so Sheldon is just doing a wonderful job at this. He is, I always sense, and this is what I love about Jack, I always sense that when he's in 10th place, he thinks the next lap he can be leading. And sometimes he does, which is what that's the whole thing.
And then he's
that
off
makes
the
it,
track.
Yeah, that's the whole thing that makes it spectacular. I think there's times when Sheldon is third and acknowledges third is what it's going to be tonight.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what's so good with what we see
maybe a
Sheldon.
little more patience and finesse, should I say?
Yeah.
And I am the biggest Jack fan. I mean, don't get me wrong.
God, we are not knocking
I
Jack
love
at
him,
all.
and his driving style is amazing.
Is
if you haven't
spectacular.
seen him over the cushion at Eldora,
Yeah,
back
because
in the
when he
day.
passes 12 cars in one lap, it'll be on every highlight film ever, I mean, so it is. But Sheldon is doing really, really good. Port Royal, Lance Dewease, 7th Tuscarora 50. I think a couple other stories coming out of this one. We're going to talk to Lance. Anthony Macri.
Yeah.
Man, that kid is
strong.
really good. He's got what it is, especially at Port.
Yep.
Really, really good. And I didn't put this in our notes, but I was so happy on Saturday night to see Dylan Sisney get
Me
third.
too.
Dylan is the hometown kid, previous best Tuscarora 50, I think was 7th, so third.
Yep.
And his comment is he said, now we're going to win one of these.
Yeah.
And I'm just and I get chills bumps just saying it.
Well, and it's a great story that we've followed for
for years. Yeah. We just, it's so cool. It really is. Over in Ohio, Attica Raceway Park, Craig Mintz. Okay, Craig Mintz. Okay, hadn't had a win in a while.
Mm-hmm.
A few weeks ago, Craig wrecked his race car and said, I'm taking some time off. And he did. To breathe, to catch his breath, to refocus, to regroup. And he comes back and gets his first win of the season. And so sometimes you just need to, sometimes you just need to step back. Cap Henry won the track championship. Fremont, Nate Dussel picked up the win. Best ever Victory Lane celebration wing dance.
Yeah.
The Stone Cold Steve Austin wing dance, best ever. The Attica Fremont Championship Series, that was the finale. Cap Henry won that. Cap's going to join us on our Wing Nation television program later this week on Rev and Mav.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, I'm so happy for that team. I actually talked to the team owner. She's a sweetheart. She's phenomenal. The Lane Racing team, and they're just so. This is that little team in Ohio that is starting to make some noise, and they've been
made
together
some noise
a few
this
years,
year, yeah.
and they've been together a few years, and
Yep.
they're starting to feel it. So it's really, really cool. IRA bumper to bumper sprints out of Gamey. Hunter Schoenberg picked up the win. And then my friend Chatty Maddie made her announcing debut. 17 years old, she announced her first race. She's the one I met at Wilmot a couple weeks ago. Oh, I got a decal. She sent me a decal to give to you also.
Okay.
Yeah, so Chatty Maddie, she did a great job on listening to her on Flow Racing. Saturday, the Jerry Richard Memorial at Cedar Lake. Brooke Tatnell, 4th win in this event. That is so
and
cool.
I love that that event so special to him.
Right.
That's his father-in-law.
I know, exactly. And I'm like, okay, we got to call up Brooke. Well, we got to call up Jacob. We got to call.
I know,
like,
and some weeks we're like, who do we call?
Yeah,
It's
some weeks
amazing,
it's
man.
like, oh, hey, we got nothing stands out. This week it's like, Brooke wins this race, which is spectacular. And it's like, oh, we're just is. I agree with you. Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour presented by MAV TV, Motorsports Network. By the way, on the MAV topic, okay, we have our show over there on MAV every Saturday morning. Okay. YouTube TV now has MAV as an option.
Oh.
So if you're on YouTube, one of our questions we can't get MAV. If you're doing the YouTube TV, you can get MAV now. It's one of the it's in one of the packages. So get it and join us there. The Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour presented by MAV TV. Casey's General Store Fall Brawl. Sam Haferteep by 0.093 seconds over Roger Crockett. This was a thriller. $5,280, fifth win of the season. Haferteep, Crockett, Austin McCarl. And finally, and I didn't put this in my notes, Erin, but I was just thinking about this morning. Bless his heart, Mark Smith.
Oh, yeah.
17th win of the season. Okay, so Mark, boogity, he's coming down to 81 because he's just found this sweet spot in the Southeast that is just serving him so good. And I respect this, and they've actually got a partnership with CRC Chemicals that's kind of percolating really good.
It seems to be.
It's like all things are going, and I'm telling you, the beauty of this thing is winning still matters, period. Okay, you can have every marketing platform and thing in the world, but one of the reasons that this thing is working with everybody is Mark is standing there in victory lane with a checkered flag all the time.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I could just vision this last week. Friday morning, boogity, he's coming down 81, coming down through Virginia, and Pete Walton cancels USCS weekend. And Mark is like, okay, hold my beer. I'm just going to drive on to I-30 and win an ASCS regional tour race.
Yeah.
And he does. And the free-spirited, yes, I'll try this mentality that Mark Smith has Oh,
It's working.
yeah, we didn't get a chance to run the Eldora truck race, but we've got a road course. Yeah, sure, I'll try it. And he ran the freaking road course at Daytona. Okay, I mean, with Al Neese. I love the attitude that he has, and then, but stick to your base also. 360 Racing in the Southeast, man, he is coming into town to take your money. And he has 17 times this year.
In a year that we have not raced that much.
No,
really.
exactly. I mean, you take Larson out of the discussion, and Mark Smith is the winningest driver. Yeah. And so kudos to Mark Smith and everybody there. They're just wonderful people, too. That's why I was so bummed I was going to be able to get to Cherokee, the track your mama warned you about on Saturday night. And I wanted to see Mark. I love chatting with him and talking to him, and they got canceled. So it is what it is. So you'll have this in big-time auto racing, and you'll have this in 2020. You'll also have Classic Ink Screen Printing and Embroidery offering full custom driver apparel and crew wear options, full-service embroidery department specializing in headwear and outerwear, and an experienced design team.
They have a dedicated sales department, and it's not just for racing. Local businesses, school districts, sport teams, you name it. Sheldon Hodenshield, Donnie Schatz, Danny Dietrich, David Stremmen, Lethal Chassis, Tony Stewart, Brian Brown. The list goes on of people who use ClassicInkUSA.com.
Yes, indeed. There you have it. And we mentioned this earlier, the lap heard round the sprint car world Friday night. It was at the Speed Palace, Port Royal Speedway, the Ollie's Bargain Outlet, All-Star Circuit of Champions. Earl Hoon with a call on Flow Racing. You got Kyle Larson leading. You got Anthony Macri second. And here comes Lance Dewease.
And now for the Dryden death-defying move of the week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track moves.
We'll look at the battle for second. Here comes Lance Dewease. He'll drive by Macri. He's going to try to drive by Kyle Larson. Lance Dewease batting for the lead. They haul the mail in at turn number 3. Here comes Young Money up high. Here comes the National Sprint Car Hall of Famer. They caught Lance Dewease. He'll take the lead off for turn number 4. Now Kyle Larson. He'll try to battle back. Sweet meat pie. It doesn't get much better than this.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Death, the official death of the World of Outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
Lance is good.
Right.
Lance sounds very happy today. Normally when it's just like, hello. Today it's, hello.
We are Team Dryden.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you,
10 seconds, stand by.
We have the selection, value, and strength to get you there.
5 seconds, stand by.
Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Go.
The entire sprint car world had a lot to talk about this past weekend. We are going to the Dryden Hotline, where for the 7th time in his career, Lance Dewease picked up the championship in the Tuscarora 50. Lance joins us on the line. Hello, Lance. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Well, thanks a lot, Steve.
I am telling you, Lance, what is your level of satisfaction right now?
Oh, it's really high. We probably went into the weekend a little bit under the radar compared to normal. So it's pretty high right now. I was really happy with the whole weekend.
Lance, you say that you probably came in a little more underrated, probably speaking of Kyle Larson taking everything in Pennsylvania. But your year hasn't been this year maybe like it has in the past few where you guys have won everything. What are some of the things that you have worked on? Or is it just still the same stuff you're doing that you're just so good at Port, so good for the 50 laps? You just seemed this weekend that you guys had a little extra something.
Well, we haven't been that good up there most of the year. There was a few nights that we were pretty good, and then other nights we were really not that good at all. And one of those nights was, I think it was the Weichert race. I started 10th and ran second to Cal and could maintain with him some. So we knew we kind of were in the right direction there, and we got a little bit away from what we worked on there and went down a different path. And then we kind of realized it, and the Saturday before Tuscarora 50, we went back that direction and found some things that were pretty nice and felt pretty good with the race car, that we had some speed back in to keep up with how you had to run Port Royal now, with how the top is more dominant than anything, and just how you have to race the racetrack.
I concur. I watched that race the week before the Tuscarora 50, and prior, the caution kind of came out and get some fresh air, and Brett Marks was gone on the thing. But I kind of had a hunch that looked pretty good. That looked pretty Lance Dewease at Port Royal, like you guys had rolled in on something. Yet we lay all this out, Lance. Your plan was to run Thursday night and Saturday night. Thursday track is very heavy, very un-Port Royal, very different for Port Royal. Just describe the decision, the risk with you guys getting tired, and you've shared with us openly that 3 nights in a row is tough for you guys. Just share the process of going from the disappointing Thursday night into deciding to run Friday and turning it all back around.
Well, actually, the funny thing about Thursday night, everybody says about the disappointment. We actually were really good for how the track was.
Okay.
We had some issues under the cautions, which caused me to fade at the end of the race. But I was really pleased with how our car was, how we were, for how wet and fast the track was. So we kind of got together afterwards and kind of left it up to David if he thought we should race on Friday night. And he basically said, well, we didn't learn too much tonight. So we decided to race on Friday night, and that worked out pretty well for us. And I think that, every night was different. So even Friday night into Saturday night kind of was just weird with how the track was with the overcast, and wasn't sure how slick it was going to get, and just kind of threw, I think, everybody for a loop.
Lance, what is it like when you run somewhere like Port Royal, and it is so different every night? Like we're talking about, you decided to run, or Davey decided to run Friday because Thursday wasn't the typical. Like, how here you are, you found some things that are working at Port, but yet the weather, the track surface throws you a loop every night.
Well, that's just racing in general.
Mm-hmm.
Everything changes, especially on dirt. It's always a moving target. Friday night we were really good. I thought that's the best we kind of been all year there, and it showed. And actually on Saturday, I didn't think we were that good. But we caught the brakes when we needed them. The racetrack was so quick early on Saturday that I just think nobody truly knew how slick would it get.
Mm-hmm.
And if it would slow down enough around the top. And the clean air is still so important there, and getting out in front. And I kind of got mad at myself for kind of messing that lead up and letting Rico get back by me. I kind of got too complacent with those lap cars, and actually on Sunday I was beating myself up pretty good about that. Just because I know if you can stay in front of them guys with how they like to run the top, they don't have enough clean air on the wing to make the speed if I'm up there where they need to be.
Man, I'll tell you, it's always fascinating to listen to you. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about this, because you have these kids, and whether it's Rico or Kyle, or even Brett Marks or Anthony Macri, these kids full of testosterone, just up there banging it off the wall. How is it difficult to be patient to wait for everything to come back to you, or how do you manage that, knowing that your strength is probably not to go up there and join them?
Well, our program's not built to do that. We probably could go faster if we change our program around to run the wall, but you're not going to be able to do other things. And that's not how we built our program. That's not what made us successful. And if I can maintain with them guys and not pound it off the wall, it's going to play to my hand eventually. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But, I know that race. That race is a long race. The last 20, 15 laps of that race can change dramatically sometimes. So, when Rico got by me, I wasn't that concerned yet. I knew we would have the break. I knew we could work on our race car a little bit and make it a little better, which we did. And, fortunately, we never really got back in the lap cars to know if I was going to legitimately beat him or not. He ended up breaking. That's all part of the game. We all do. So it's just I know how that 50 laps, I just know how you have to be careful and not use up your stuff so quickly. And it's another race the second half.
Man, that is so fascinating. I mean, what you said makes complete sense. You can't have a car that's tight enough to hit the bottom and run like they do, crazy up against the wall. But what you said about being able to stay in front of them and giving them enough dirty air to kind of mess them up running the top, gosh, that is so cool, man. But to think about all of that while you're out there and to be so patient, I mean, that 50 laps, like you said, that's like, you're just so good at that.
Well, I've always been a very patient racer, and I don't get too excited about it. And my record kind of speaks for itself on the long distance races. The Grove Nationals 40 laps were pretty good in that race normally, and over my career, and Tuscarora 50 and all the longer races, I tend to be a little bit better for me than the other guys, maybe some other guys. And you just can't keep pounding off the wall. Sooner or later it's going to bite you. And just kind of watching the replays, I won't name names, but they can hit a lap or two and make some really, really good speed, but then they can't do it consistently sometimes. So it just, if I can be up 3/4 way up to the wall and maintain with them guys, I feel like we can beat them then. And, it's just how the racing is there right now. It just tends to be a top dominant, but they keep trying. They do a great job it's a top dominant track, but it's not, other than on Thursday when it was really wet, it's not a simple track to run the top one. So you still have to have a good car and still know what you're doing to do it. So it's still a good racetrack, and Friday's racetrack, you couldn't ask for a better racetrack. The racing that we put on there was unbelievable, and I think the fans all could agree with that.
Yeah, the Friday night was spectacular. There's no doubt. I mean, it's just unreal. We had just, I was sharing. I was stuck watching it, and I just got done watching Jacob Allen get his career first win and think that's the greatest thing I've seen. And then Portland, you guys roll out and do what you do, and I'm like, well, maybe I don't know what's the greatest thing I've seen here in one night. I mean, that's how good that track was, and going from there. Lance, I love watching you get out in victory lane, particularly. I love watching Donald and Davey and the crew. I guess there's even video out there of Calvin jumping, which is a scary thought. But being able to do this with Davey and Donald, and to be able to check off big ones like this, to be able to beat Kyle Larson in 2020. Okay, that's your golfing buddy, and we all understand what he's been doing this year. Do you guys just kind of get back to the truck and look at each other and like, what in the world did we just do? Or what is that like to be inside of that moment with those guys?
Well, it means everything to me to be in victory lane with them guys standing next to me.
Yeah.
Especially Davey. I mean, at his age, and to still have the passion and drive to do what he does. And Donald works super hard at this, harder than probably a lot of people realize. And they know what we need to do to be successful, and race the way we race is part of that. And the other year we got away from that, and last year we got away from that, went to Knoxville, which I loved, enjoyed being back out there, but all that stuff put us behind for later in the year, and it kind of showed in our performance a little bit last year at the end of the year. And they kind of, over the winter, we kind of just said, we're not traveling nowhere. We're going to stay home and do our normal deal and be ready for the races that we tend to worry about, and that's all these that are coming up starting last weekend for every weekend now till the middle of October. So we have a lot of racing coming up here that's all paying really good money. You're very, very fortunate enough to be racing in the area that we can race for $53,000 last weekend, $20,000 this coming weekend, $20,000 the following weekend, $75,000 the following weekend, and two $10,000 shows at Port the following weekend after that. So we don't need to travel.
No,
we don't need to travel. So it's just decision they made over the winter, and it's just I'm happy with it. I enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy racing and driving that race car, and everybody that works on that race car, from John to Calvin. Now, when you say jump, I really wouldn't have called that a jump.
Well, yeah, good point. Yeah.
6 inches is really not that high. So, but they're all a great group of guys that just enjoy sprint car racing, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Yes, indeed. A big part of it and a big part of the big weekend that we just had. Lance, we appreciate the time. We so appreciate the insight. You always give us so much to chew on, to think about, and it's just so much fun. And as you said, there's a whole lot coming up still. There's a lot out the windshield. We don't need to be looking in the mirror too long with the Tuscarora 50 because there's some big ones coming up. We wish you the best on those, and who knows, maybe we'll chat with you here in another week or two after another big one.
Well, hopefully we can pull off one of them. If I have to only pick one, it'll have to be the one in 3 weeks. So but we're going, we race tomorrow night at Lincoln. We raced in Saturday for the 20,000 Dirt Classic. And, we worry about the next race. They already started worrying about the next race on Sunday. You know what I mean? So they're trying to get prepared, and they're trying to get prepared for later in the month. And, we'll be ready.
Oh, sounds great. Thanks, Lance.
Thank you.
I am telling you, we need about an hour just to dissect that. I mean, that's unreal how smart he is. How not only smart with their own team, with their own way of doing it, but smart with where he's racing on the racetrack, with who's behind him and who's around him. You're right. Spectacular. Bouncing those cars off the wall is spectacular, but can you do it for 25 or 30 laps or 50 laps? Yeah. And then it's like...
And if I can stay out front of them and run 3/4 of the way up the track, I'm going to make enough dirty air to mess them up. I mean, that was good stuff.
Unreal. It was like a couple of years ago. Okay, 2 years ago, he had a race where Dietrich is leading it. And I think you and I were talking to him, and he rolled it in, put his left rear right outside of Dietrich's right rear, going into 3, and just came right around the middle.
Yeah.
Jacob's good.
It's like, and he said, and we talked to him, he says, where did that come from? He said, well, like back in the 90s, that was something you could do there, and I just wondered if it would work. I said, poor Danny Dietrich wasn't even around in the 90s, so bless his heart, he didn't have a prayer at that move. But how does your mind process all of this? You talk about a high-speed processor in a computer. Lance Dewease's mind is faster than that.
Absolutely.
Because if this, then that. It's unreal to me.
Oh, yeah, and we're going 100 and something miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's insane how good they are. Absolutely insane. The absolute number one pit utility vehicle in the sprint car and midget racing is a custom mule conversion from HRP. It starts with a solid platform, dependable, great-looking Kawasaki mule, and it's customized and built to each customer's specifications.
They have options like generator, air compressor, shock and radius rod racks, amazing toolboxes and drawers, LED lighting, walk-on roofs, and more. HRP Mule Conversion perform, outlast, and maintain their value better than any other utility vehicle.
And if you thought that visit with Lance Dewease was great, stay tuned because we have one that will top that. Jacob Allen, he joins us next.
Power isn't born. It's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain. And we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Hey, Ashley, what are you up to?
Oh, I just stopped by to grab some sage fruit apples. Now I just have to decide which ones.
You can never go wrong with a Honey Crisp. They're light, crisp, and full of perfectly balanced flavor.
Oh, hey!
You could always go with one of their classics, the Gala or Fuji. They're both sweet and juicy. Grown in the heart of Eastern Washington, Sage Fruit Company works hard on the farm and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears to consumers all year long.
Well, I couldn't decide which ones.
5 seconds, stand by.
I'll race you to checkout.
Go.
It is Wing Nation. It is presented by Hercules Tires. We're in the Hercules Tires, the Hercules Tires studio. Okay, we are going to the Dryden hotline, and I know the folks at Dryden were happy because, well, they're part of the sprint car world, and the entire sprint car world sighed a huge sigh of relief Friday night from the Boot Hill Showdown when this guy scored his career first World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car win. Jacob Allen joins us. Hello, Jacob. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Hello, how's it going?
It's going good. Jacob, what has life been like since about 9, whenever you crossed that finish line on Friday night out in Kansas? What has life been like since then?
Pretty refreshing, really. Just, I just spent a lot of time thinking about getting that first Outlaw win. It seemed like the closer I got, the more I thought about it, and now I don't have to think about it. So it's like just kind of like a fresh slate for myself, and just still kind of like taking it all in. It's been pretty awesome.
Jacob, how much, I mean, you kind of hit on it, but how much of a weight do you feel lifted off your shoulders to get that win? You've been so close for so long. And like moving forward, I don't know, does it feel somewhat surreal? I mean, I won an outlaw race once, that's my claim to fame, and it almost felt surreal for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like I've just spent so much time thinking about it, and like, when we first got on the Outlaw Tour, it was like, you start racing with them, and like you have well, at least for myself, I'm just speaking for myself. Like, yeah, you have really like no skills, or you're just learning, everything, and you want to win an outlaw race, but like the reality of it happening, it seems pretty far out until you can, start learning the skills and the things that's going to take to win. And then I felt like I was adding those things up. Like, this year, I felt like I had so many of the pieces to win a race and then get close on top of like, years past of being close and hearing about winning my first outlaw race. It was like just so much has gone into that time of getting to that point, and then finally accomplishing it. It's just like, wow, like it really did happen, and I don't have to dedicate so much of my thought process of just winning my first outlaw race. Now I can kind of just take that for what it, accomplishing that, and then moving forward to knowing my skill set now and what it's taken to get to this point, and then go race for, win, a second win, and so on.
It's just that makes so much sense. That really does, and it's such a wise approach to it. I do want to go back to Friday night, Jacob. We know we've all lived through you've been through some close calls. The last few laps of that race, what were the last few laps of that race? What was that like?
Well, I would say I was, we did have a caution at the halfway point. It was a 30-lap race. And, the week before, or whenever we ran I-80, I was leading that race, and it was like getting to the halfway. And, at halfway, you start feeling like, or at least for myself at that time, I was thinking, it's getting closer to, possibly getting this win. And I just kind of like wanted to block that out when I thought that on Friday night. Like I did think like, all right, like you've got the first 15, like now you got to do the second 15. And I was like, I don't want to think about that. I want to think more about hitting my marks and like focusing on the race itself and the racetrack itself by driving the track right and then hitting lap traffic right, because like I just didn't want to have my mind off 100% focus on the task that was in front of me. So then it did, we ran the race, and it got to be, I did look up and it was like 3 to go. And I did have a little bit of a flashback of Stockton kind of thing. I was like, well, I was in this point last year and I broke down. So like, yeah, 3 to go is like a short amount of time, but things can happen pretty fast as well. So that went through my mind. And then when I took the white and I got down the backstretch, I was like, oh, holy shit, like this is about to happen for me. And like, I was just so pumped. And when I got the checkered, I could just feel so refreshed. Like it was all that time and all that thought just finally, it happened for me. So I was just super stoked, and just like, all I could think to do was like yell and just be pumped.
Yeah, for sure. And I think everyone in the sprint car community was doing the same thing for you. Jacob, every time that Steve and I, or Ashley and I, or whoever had talked to you throughout the years, whether it be at the track or on one of the shows, you've always maintained such a positive attitude. In all honesty, now looking back, how hard has it been to keep that confidence and know that you were going to get that win like you did on Friday night? It had to be harder than sometimes you maybe let on.
Yeah, I mean, I just try to always think about, being positive towards like, everybody, I don't want to sit there and like talk about things that like, I don't mind talking about anything with anybody really. I mean, it doesn't bother me to speak my mind or speak how I'm feeling by any means to anybody. It doesn't bother me. But I didn't want to be like, oh, like if somebody comes up and they talk about getting that win or what's going on, and I didn't want to be like, well, it's really been bothering me. It's really been on my mind, and they have to like think, well, I don't know. I just didn't want like that kind of vibe, I guess. I just want, people to, believe that I am like happy. Like I am happy. I'm genuinely happy. I was happy even though it didn't happen. And there's times I ran second, but like ultimately I want to win more than anything in the world. That's what I try to do each time I go and race. And yeah, it would definitely eat at me a lot, but I felt like, a person that's always helped me become more of a positive person has always been like my dad. Like if I ever complained about things or started having a bad attitude, he would always like shut me down. And I think that's made me stronger as a person to like fight through times where he would always say like, oh, you're starting to feel sorry for yourself, or like, oh, like a bad attitude's not going to like take you anywhere. So when I felt like I was creating my own negativity or kind of feeling sorry for myself, I just try to turn around and look at the positive and like what I could do to make those negative feelings become positive feelings. And I just kind of live like through that, really.
That's a life lesson, man.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with sprint car racing. I mean, it has everything to do with you, Jacob, and sprint car racing, but you can apply that principle to every aspect of life, and you're better off for it. So kudos to you. Kudos to your dad. And that's my final question for you here is, what did your dad was probably more worried about the second night at the racetrack than worried about celebrating that with you. But that had to be a neat moment for him and you to celebrate that win on Friday night.
Yeah, so, that was always a big thing for me as well, not just to win, my first Outlaw race, but like just to share that moment with my dad in Victory Lane. I've always like, man, like I've got to go to Victory Lane with my dad before, but I've always wanted to be like in the World of Outlaws Victory Lane with my dad, and then like be in the history books with my dad as a winner. So I was super pumped. Like when they, had us taking pictures down there in Victory Lane, I was like, I have to get a picture with my dad. Like I've always thought about this moment, and like I have to have it. So yeah, super stoked. I mean, my dad's not one to like yell or, jump up and down, like give me like the biggest hug and lift me up in the air. I don't even know if he could do that, but like, but I just know how like pumped he is. Like he'll kind of like, if I'm walking by the trailer and he's like sitting on his phone, text message, like he'll look up and like, kind of pull me aside and like just be real pumped up. Like he'll start talking 100 miles an hour. Like he shows his emotions in different ways rather than like, wow, you drove such a great race or this and that. Like he just starts talking like 100 miles an hour and just rambling off all kinds of stuff. So like that's when I realized like, all right, Dad's pretty pumped and like he's pretty proud right now. So yeah, just a great feeling. I mean, I just feel so amazing to share that with my dad and Logan, and just to finally accomplish that. Like, you guys could have had me on a week ago and been like, Jake, you're so close to winning that first Outlaw race. And like, I don't ever have to hear that again. And I can just move forward and just like race and do my thing. And like I said, I've learned so much more about racing and driving since I started. So to get a second Outlaw win should not be the same kind of struggle. It should be much easier, I hope. But yeah, I have so much more of a skill set. I have so much of a better understanding of the job that I'm doing on the racetrack. And I just can't wait to see, how things can play out from here on out.
I can't wait either. It is going to be awesome. It really, truly is. And the smile of your dad as he looked over your shoulder while you were doing the interview on Dirt Vision, said it all.
Yep.
You could tell he's not gonna say many words about it, but you could read it in his eyes and his smile. Jacob, congratulations. By the way, you hate answering that question about when we're going to get the first one. We hate asking it too, so we'll never ask you that again. How about that? Is that a deal? We'll never ask you that again.
That sounds awesome. I didn't mind it being asked by any means, but damn, I'm so glad I don't have to answer it ever again.
Yep, and we're glad we don't have to ask it. Congratulations, and best of luck throughout the balance of the season.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
There we go. Jacob Allen joining us here. Well, now we need another whole show to unpack that.
Seriously.
This
is a big show today. Whew.
I'm telling you what, absolutely unreal. That is for sure. Ford's racing roots extend all the way back to 1901 when Henry Ford won his first and only race. And then last October when Donnie Schatz brought a Ford-powered World of Outlaws sprint car across the finish line, another win was added to the trophy case.
For anyone who loves sprint car racing, that was a banner day. It became clear the Blue Oval was back on the dirt tracks, and in a big way. With a new FPS 410 engine built in America for a truly American form of racing. Ford is more committed than ever to providing grassroots racing with the contemporary power it craves.
Stay with us. We're going to talk about the Flying Shoe up next.
Power isn't born. It's built over time.
That was awesome.
For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain. And we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Pride. Passion.
Performance.
We are.
10 seconds.
We are Team Dryden.
5 seconds. Go.
It is Wing Nation here, presented by Hercules Tires. Erin and I were just talking, okay? The message that Bobby Allen gave Jacob about positive energy, suck it up. You're bringing negative energy around there. Could you imagine in our world today if everybody had a father that would have spoken that into everybody today?
We'd be in a lot better place.
We would be in a lot better place and a lot different place.
Yes.
So Bobby Allen, you're the man. Jacob Allen's the man
Bobby
too.
Allen for president.
Bobby Allen for president. Bobby Allen for king. Bobby Allen for Grand Poobah. Whatever it is. We'll take Bobby Allen anytime and any way we can get him, Hey, just like racing components, Aggressive Hydraulics purpose builds hydraulic cylinders to perform for customer-specific applications. They design and manufacture mobile single-style stage cylinders as well as multi-stage telescopic cylinders that use a no one-size-fits-all approach.
They have hydraulic solutions for virtually every industry that uses hydraulic cylinders. They proudly design and manufacture all cylinders in the United States. Check out the video of their story at aggressivehydraulics.com.
Yes, indeed. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum birthday calendar, Armin Kruger, yesterday. Coming up later this week, Doug Clark.
Oh, my buddy.
I love Doug Clark and Lewis Center. Today, the birthday of 2003 inductee into the Sprint Car Hall of Fame, the Flying Shoe, Ron Schumann. Raced motorcycles until he broke his back. That put him in race cars. His brother Billy raced. And the list of accomplishments is insane. He started in 72, won the Arizona State title and the ARA Sprint Rookie of the Year, and he took it on the road. 24 times he won the World of Outlaws. In 1979, he was the Knoxville Nationals champion, Western World Championship, Pacific Coast World Championship, Turkey Night Grand Prix, Silver Crown win at Eldora, the Louis Vermeil Classic. It didn't matter what he strapped into, he was winning races.
Yeah, that's a resume.
And then later continued on promoting races into California, and just an iconic Hall of Famer, Ron Schumann, our Sprint Car Hall of Fame inductee, birthday today. So happy birthday to the Flying Shoe. You can find out more at sprintcarhof.com. That's sprintcarhof.com. They have got the sprintcarraffle.com.
Mm-hmm.
That is the raffle car, so you need to get in and try to win that race car, sprintcarraffle.com. And then you need sprintcarstuff.com is where you can get all your collectibles, your shirts, your books, your great reads. You know, it's September. You can do all your Christmas shopping right now.
Please.
Oh, I know, but no, you'd be done while everyone else is over at the mall clubbing each other over the head with whatever they club themselves over the head with. You said, no, I went, Postman told me to go to sprintcarstuff.com.
I mean, if you're going to shop.
And I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Good to go for the holidays for my Sprint Car fan. It is great stuff, that is for sure. Erin, I'm so excited about this, and I got even more excited on the program. Lance Dewease told us we don't have to wait.
I know.
And Lance is going to be there. It is the Weldon Sterner Memorial tomorrow night at the fabulous Lincoln Speedway. And it's a great tune-up for the Dirt Cup.
Yep.
You know that every All-Star...
They'll all
think
be there.
Well, they've got Lincoln on Wednesday, Baps is running on Thursday, and then the Grove is an All-Star race on Friday. I mean, you know, Pennsylvania, September, don't scare them up there. No, sirree. They'll just jump right in and go. So we've got racing tomorrow night.
Woo-hoo.
Woo! That blue number 69 is going to be there.
Know.
I'm sure everyone else will be there, too. And that's going to be great stuff. It really, truly is. Speaking of great stuff, coming up later this week, Brad Doty is going to join. We've got so many things to talk about.
I know.
We're not going to talk about the Brad Doty Classic. Well, we might. We always talk to Brad. We always have an idea. And I'm just sitting here saying, we've got to talk about Larson.
Yep.
We got to talk about Lance. We got to talk about Jacob. We got to talk about the World of Outlaw point battle. We got to talk about Cap Henry. Who better to talk about? Ohio. Brad Doty's going to join us on our podcast this week. It's presented by Dryden and by Hercules. And coming up this weekend on Wing Nation TV, presented by Sage Fruit.
15.
Talking Ohio Racing, Cap Henry is going to join us. So you can catch that on the same bat channel, same bat
10.
time on Rev and on Mav. Thanks to Jacob Allen and Lance
5,
Dewease for joining us. More
4,
important than all of that, though,
3,
thank you for joining us here today.
1, clear.
Wing Nation has been brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our string. Watch Wing Nation Saturday mornings on MAV TV. You can also find Wing Nation on wingnation.com or your favorite podcast provider. Wing Nation is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.